Oh boy, it's been a good long while since I actually made a political related video, and boy do I have a lot to say in light of this massive shit show that's been spiraling these last couple of days. There's the Monopolist shooting, and then there was the horrific murder of that poor Ukrainian woman in Charlotte, North Carolina, named Irina. I hope that scumbag that murdered her gets the death penalty. And of course, everybody knows what this video is referring to, and it's the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who I couldn't stand at all, by the way. But that doesn't mean I wished that kind of obscene death upon him. You might try to spin it around that way to virtue signal me, which is why I'm making this rant video. And last but not least, a recent mass school shooting at a high school in Colorado. Okay, I'm making this video because I'm fucking irate at a lot of these people that like to virtue signal whenever someone doesn't have any kind of empathy for someone that has a lot of vile takes, from saying that gay people should be stoned to death, encouraging parents to not let their kids wear masks during a high casualty pandemic, saying that the civil rights movement in 1964 was a mistake, that British colonization was a decent time for civilization, and saying that people are more scared of colored pilots than white ones, which makes no fucking sense, but I digress, which is generally one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. Or saying that it's worth of innocent lives at churches and schools if it means upholding unconstrained laws on guns. Now, I love guns, by the way. Don't get it twisted. But what he said there was genuinely insensitive, as if saying that gay people should be stoned to death wasn't already bad enough. Or already immoral enough. Like, why should I mourn or have empathy for somebody that said all these vile things and didn't show any value of human life themselves? I've made this reiteration of why I became an atheist over a decade ago. Why should I even repent for having a moral conscience to value human life? I value it so much that I wouldn't even wish that kind of obscene death upon Charlie. No. He had a family. He was a husband and a father. They didn't deserve to see him perish quite like that, much less in front of thousands of other people. That was disgusting. And if you're perpetrating or condoning this kind of violence, you're not helping the problem with this country. Mass gun violence has already been a big problem enough in this country, and now you want to add fuel to the fire by doing stuff like that when Charlie Kirk posed no threat. Save the assassinations for actual scum like Vladimir Putin, who caused gallons of bloodshed to his name on Ukrainian soil, and unimaginably probably other nations as well. Even though that Russia wasn't in China. I don't remember. I don't think he orchestrated the attack on Georgia, no? But that still goes without saying that Russia has an ugly history of invading a lot of countries, and we all know Ukraine is that current exhibit. And by the way, that's another thing I forgot to mention as well. I can't have empathy for someone who says that Ukraine should just give up Crimea to Russia. I'll talk about that in greater detail and much different time, since the whole war in Ukraine and the whole history of Ukraine is a very big topic for a different video. And I don't want to make this video super bloated talking about my patriotism or knowledge of Ukraine, because, well, that's not the point. The point is, you can have apathy for someone dying. You can not have sympathy for someone that had vile takes like Charlie Kirk dying, but you cannot condone this kind of violence. You cannot condone this kind of unconstrained violence whatsoever. can't believe I am pausing too much because, jeez, I've been overwhelmed by this big outrage and how bad a lot of people mistake me for someone who supposedly condones this vile and repulsive human behavior. No. I hope every person that has been perpetrating these mass amount of bloodshed goes to prison or gets the death penalty. There's no excuse for any of this bullshit. Because you're not helping the problem. What have these children at the churches done to you? What have the children at these schools done to you? What was Charlie Kirk doing that was a big threat to a human life? Sure, he said a lot of verbal shit that was absolutely disgusting as goddamn hell, but what goal were you trying to make by taking his life in front of thousands of people, including his family? There's no excuse for any of that. It pisses me off. Both sides are fucking pissing me off, and a lot of people are probably gonna have the balls to call me an SJW, Redditor, or whatever the hell, which only proves my point that you asshats are fucking virtue signaling. Like, why would you want this kind of burden on other people? Why would you want Charlie Kirk's children, wife, and undoubtedly many of the people that sympathized with him in that crowd to have this kind of burden, this traumatic burden? This is not something anybody should wish on anyone. A father, a husband, taken in cold blood. And I am hoping the FBI locks up that absolute scumbag that caused this absolute shit show in the first place. And, man, it's just so eerie how all this actually just unraveled right before the day that is today, that is 9/11. And again, the 9/11 victims are in contrast to Charlie Kirk, who actually deserve my empathy because, well, they were just doing what regular people did. Go to work, travel, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, a commercial jetliner was used as a weapon against them. Like, you can hate the Republican Party, you can even hate America for the obscene history that they have caused throughout their 2.5 decades. But this does not justify taking lives in cold blood. As a matter of fact, you're more scum than the people that you're calling scum. Like, how can you actually be okay with this? And furthermore, how can you actually be okay with virtue signaling other people that actually have a complex take on matters like these? Like, no, I did not think Charlie Kirk deserved to die at all, and I most definitely don't think any of those people deserve the burden of that kind of trauma at all. But if he didn't value the human life of gay people, then, well, he doesn't deserve my empathy. It's simple as that. Not saying he deserved to die, of course. Again, I'm reiterating this one more time, but he said a lot of stupid shit, and I do not think that this is someone worth being sad about. I am actually feeling sad that his life was taken in such a disgusting way, but it doesn't. Again, there's people worth feeling sad for, and then there isn't. Like, I definitely feel bad for his family. I definitely feel bad for his friends. I feel bad for that big crowd that had to witness that. But I can't really say I have empathy for him. And if, whatever, you can dogpile me all you want. I don't give a shit. I don't give one single solitary shit, especially when all of you didn't give a single solitary shit about what happened in fucking Minnesota in June 14th, 2025. There were crickets chirping that fucking day. And flags weren't even put at half step for Melissa? You're telling me that flags were not put at half step for her? You see, this is why I've been out of favor talking about politics for the longest time, and why it's just been so quiet in my space about politics. It just makes no fucking sense. It makes no fucking sense. And even her dog, her husband, were killed. And there still wasn't any huge media outrage to the scale we're seeing right now. I'm not trying to revert to whataboutism, but if we're really gonna virtue signal other people by telling them that they're not respecting the dead, then we should be holding that exhibit to the same standard. And that's all I really have for this short little rant here. I don't feel like it going on any longer. It's become exhausting. Even just hearing about this. I saw the video and it really genuinely disturbed me, and oh my god, I can't imagine. Whoever said in that video from somewhat afar that was like to Charlie's right, whoever said, I don't know if that was gunfire or fireworks, god, that idiot would not have good survival instincts at all. Whatever. Take it easy, everybody, and just try to take the best care of yourselves.